one of the most unique aspects of what we have been able to develop occurred because we sat down and did something that I had never done before in my 30 years of teaching. We looked at the course and we said, let's build a course around themes. And what are the themes for a course that's a combination of operations management and managerial accounting? And out of that, two themes emerged that all organizations, whether they're profit, not-for-profit, universities, hospitals, whatever, have to be managed as systems of interdependent processes. And all processes exhibit variation. Now, when those two themes appeared on paper, all of the major topics that overlap between his discipline and my discipline became very apparent. We could then create the topical nature of this part of the syllabus, and then from there develop the cases, the reflection papers, the exercises that we wanted the students to engage in. But all of that happened because of those two themes. The other fortunate part of that development is the fact that he and I were exposed to two of the, I think, most far-reaching paradigm breakers in the 80s and 90s, Deming and Goldratt. And we built the course around these two individuals, one an Israeli physicist, the other a mathematician, statistician, neither one who came through formal business education, but who had a profound effect on business in the last half of the 20th century. And we were able, because of having been exposed to both of these thinkers, then build a course around these two themes, the thoughts, the theories of these two individuals. And I think that's what's made the course really unique. And somehow you try to bring it alive. Now that's not always easy in accounting, to bring that alive. But I think if you can bring some passion, and sure there's some showmanship, I don't deny that, to try to create a learning environment where there's some joy in learning. The Japanese have a saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. And I think what we have to do sometimes is to prepare the student in such a way, to prepare the classroom environment to allow the teacher to come. And the teacher works both ways. What happens when Saul and I teach at the graduate level, and I think we can do it at the undergraduate level, is create a situation where we have a classroom where at times we become students and they become teachers. I think we can create those kinds of environments, and we should strive and try to create those kinds of environments.
I like to teach in an interactive way, whatever that means. That's why I chose a lot of cases when I taught by myself. And that's why I think when we teamed up, this interaction was an important part of what I was about and what we ended up being about in this class. So again, cases were a big part of it, and the experiential stuff, which drove much more interaction with students, student teams, and us. And we very quickly became sideliners. What is it? Deb Bickford says, we want us to be not sage on the stage, but a guide on the side. Well, I've learned what that means, and boy, the more you can get out of the way of good students, the better it works. It's just putting your ego aside and getting out of the way. Give them the material, let them chew on it, add in an appropriate comment or question, and just watch them fly. So that's how I got to where I am teaching now, but it's been a long, tough haul. It's I think a lot of it just based on life experience and staying open to learning myself.
I have said for probably the past 20 years that when somebody asks me, well, what's your teaching philosophy or your teaching style? And I remember when I retired after 30 years in a state school and came to UD, my youngest son said to me, well, now what are you going to do when you go to UD? It's a private school. How are you going to teach accounting? And I remember saying to him, well, of course I'm going to use the Charlie Wooler method. So from an undergraduate standpoint, it's the Charlie Wooler method. He combined the ability to lecture on material that needed to be lectured on and explained, but he blended that then at the right time with material that could only be approached and addressed and really understood through problem demonstration and students actually engaged in the process of problem solving and analysis. So it was always a blended approach. It was never just only one way to present material. And as a result, he kept the course not only interesting, but he was constantly reinforcing what you had read in the text, what he had lectured on, and what you were experiencing in the problems. And whenever I teach an undergraduate course where there's going to be that nuts and bolts orientation, whether it be an honors course, whether it be just a regular undergraduate accounting course, that is the method, that is the philosophy I follow. And I would just do that in any undergraduate course that I was teaching. Now, when you get into the graduate level, there's no model that I can point to in terms of what Saul and I are doing, because my first experience with team teaching has been with MBA 692. And the challenge has been, and I remember going into this thinking, are we going to run up to, in terms of situations where we just can't see how we can integrate any further? Are we going to reach the point where we get to a certain topic and I just don't have anything that I can add without making it be obvious that I'm just kind of sugarcoating this or bluffing my way through it?
Force fitting.
Exactly, force feeding it. But that hasn't happened, and I believe that hasn't happened because he and I spend a great deal of time outside of class discussing the topics, reflecting on articles that we've read, continuing to publish papers. We've published now 5 articles together, and I think that has created an environment and situation for us where we are continuously seeing ways to integrate this material. So the model in the graduate level is something that he and I think, have developed through continuing discussion and dialogue.